And he goes, we're going back out there talking to people, and we're going to get back in people's faces. That's how you sell accounts. Good luck, gentlemen. And they were like looking around like at each other. And it said like the name of the company, if their salesmen make a count. But it's true, we've forgotten all those personal little things.
That personal
and I
interaction
learned those little things when I sold cars. I was two things. Guess what I used to do a lot more than I do now. I was a letter writer.
You were?
I loved writing letters.
To who?
Whoever.
You would do it for someone? Like I could say, hey,
okay.
You had pen pals?
This is contact.
Prison inmates?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not trying to make a joke. Was it from you being in prison?
No, this was something that I learned from a guy named Carmine Balzano when I was growing up.
Such a this guy that is the most Italian fucking thing.
This guy got caught with machine guns. This guy got caught with fucking, not paying parking tickets, ripping tickets up. Like you'd come to him and go, I got $1,000 in tickets, and he'd rip them up. This guy lived corruption, but what he did was write letters to editors. And he would get his stories always printed. He was a letter writer. And I would look at that, and he'd always say the pen is mightier than the sword sometimes. He'd say in his words, sometimes the pen is mightier than the gun. Like he was a cop. And something, he did something. Just, I got into writing letters. And if somebody did something, like Timmy Holloway put up some pictures of me the other day. And he goes, he asked his father, where'd you get these pictures from? He goes, after Coco left, he wrote us a letter to thank us for everything we had done for him. And he included those pictures. He was fine. I was a letter writer. I love sending out letters. But when you go to prison, when you go before a judge, before I went in front of that judge, I wrote that judge 15 letters.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about what?
What happened, what my situation was, what I learned from it. But the probation report said I still didn't have any empathy, like I wasn't taking responsibility for the situation. But I built a relationship way before I went in there. And once he sentenced me, I wrote him letters from prison.
You did?
Thank you.
Was it more of a lenient sentence because you had established that connection with him?
He told me that my lawyer could set a motion for reconsideration in 90 days.
Wow.
That means
it's a good judge too, though.
That's a good judge.
Because that guy could have been like, "Fuck this guy."
I also had a friend of mine his brother was a dentist, and my friend was best friends with that dentist, and he went to him and played golf with him. So I reached out to that guy. I had to reach out to the dentist.
You hitting every angle.
And the dentist said to him, he goes, "I've never done this for anybody else, but I'll do it for you because it seems like you really like the kid." So he talked to the judge. So because he did that, I kept in touch with that judge for years. I got sentenced in 88, and I was still writing letters to that judge in 92, 93. Oh, yeah, I'm a savage.
You are.
I was out of the system. I had no reason to write him a letter, but I would still write him letters. And one day I got in trouble, and I got taken to civil court by my ex-wife, and who was the judge?
No. Come on.
And I'm writing them letters about our situation. She's not letting me see the baby. I don't know what to do. He's not replying.
Right.
But he's getting these letters.
He knows, and he's reading them,
you
too.
You follow me? Sure, they read them. You got to remember, when you're a judge, you want to move up politically. So when a person dies, the funeral parlor makes 250 mass cards. That means that every time I come in contact with Ryan Sickler, if I treat Ryan Sickler the wrong way, he's going to tell 250 people that Joey Diaz is a dick. Or Lee Syatt's a dick. You have to assume that when you have contact with somebody,
their reach is 250.
Their reach is 250. So when you go up in front of a judge, and you're going up there, let's say for manslaughter, and you did plead out, and there was mitigating circumstances. And
I'm getting nervous just thinking about being in front of a judge for manslaughter right now, Lee.
Let's say you negotiate with your attorney 0 to 9 years. The judge could give you anything 0 to 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
If I show up into that courtroom with 20 people to all talk on my behalf.
And they're allowed to get up and speak?
What's 20 times 250?
Let's see.
Yes.
5,000.
So that judge, instead of giving me 9 years, is going to give me 6.5.
That's great.
That's how you have to work.
And did it help you out in that civil case? It did benefit?
Oh, yeah. He told the next time you come up in here and you don't give him the kid, I'm going to fine you $1,000 and throw you in jail for contempt. She fucking turned red.
Some of the bitches got carpal tunnel over there for fucking write me so much.
It was funny because I was telling last night I took my jiu-jitsu teacher to the comedy store. Yes, since Jersey, I've been writing a lot again in the book. And I thought about this story that was fucking whenever I go to New York and perform, I swear to God, I always see this kid that I grew up with. And he just waves at me. And one time in Jersey, I looked at him and I double looked at him and I'm like, I know this guy. And I went over and gave him a hug, but he didn't want to take a picture. He didn't even want to talk. And then I saw him again in New York. Then I saw him again last summer in the Borgata.
Just by accident?
I always just see him.
Really?
And he just waves.
He's like an extra in your life.
Like an extra in my life.
Yeah.
But there's more to the story. I was very good friends with him and his family growing up.
I see.
He had two other brothers. One was a wrestler, and the other one was a gangster. The wrestler I sold ups to. Black beauties.
Gotta drop that weight,
make
man.
weight. He, since their last name started with a D, I became friends with him in homeroom. And he was dear friends with a dear friend of mine. And I loved this kid like a brother, and he loved me like a brother. I used to go to his house, but throughout the years, my relationship with the younger brother selling them the pills, this kid knew he wanted to be a cop when he was 10. So he would tell me to stay away from his older brother. But his older brother made me 25 G's when I was 17 one time, handed it to me in an envelope. I love
25 grand at 17?
25, 20 grand in $20 bills. It was fucking 2 rubber bands stacked together, fresh bills out of a bank.
He robbed the bank?
No. It was, at that time, he was already in with these good dudes, and he used to. This was crazy. I went to him and said, "Can you do this?" And he was a drive-through teller.
Okay, yeah. I remember that you put in the tube and...
So there was 2 checks.
Yeah.
He goes, "I'll do it, but I got to keep one. You keep the other one. You keep the higher one. I'll keep the lower one."
That was his cut.
Away with it. And then later on, he grew in the bank. Even though he was involved with a crime family, he grew in this bank. And then in the early 80s, when everybody wanted to be a drug dealer, he would take money out of a vault on a Friday at 3 and give it to you. Like he'd give you 60 for 85,000. But you better have that money back Sunday night at 9 o'clock.
We're going in like fucking Marines, you understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.